Today is September the 9th, 2022. This is Speak On It, a production of the Retro Current Team nonprofit here at CAN TV. My name is Malik. There are some issues that we will talk about, but not necessarily with the amplification. But I'm gonna just do a quick little summary of something that I noticed for the first time in all my years in Chicago, and it's interesting. What seems to be happening is that there's a serious exodus of aldermen from the city council. I'm gonna just say it off the top of my head, at least a half a dozen, for one reason or the other. But one situation that got my attention, and I didn't bring the paper today because it's a little complicated sometimes with those newspapers. But the bottom line is, this particular Alderman Gaza, I think it is, there was something printed in one of the papers with a picture of her, and she's resigned. But she said something that was very telling in my way of thinking. She said she don't regret. I use that word, I'm paraphrasing. But she apparently has experienced something so foul that she says she will not miss it, because there appears to have been some experiences lately where she experienced working with people in the city council, elected officials, aldermen, that was so toxic that she described it as being used a paper towel and thrown in the trash. I'm using trash. She said and thrown away. And I want to use another word other than paper towel. She talking about that other little paper that's in the bathroom. That's what she felt. Working in the city council with other elected officials, alderman says that I won't miss it because the insanity. She didn't say insanity, I said that. But you get the drift. Something has happened in the last period of time that people are leaving their good city jobs. But how could all of what has happened in all of these years, people never was running away from the job? But now, this alderman says, it's like being used and thrown away. Now, I can believe that. Because when I worked for the city, and this is a little, we're going to get to this later, but I got to say it at this point. When I worked for the city, 311 eventually came in and all these other things, but if you called 311, you knew you was going to get some help. If you called 311, or 911, or any city department, it was expected, not only from the public, but from the worker, that you was going to provide a city service. But there's a situation here where some people was out of hot water for over a month, 34 days. But what they described in their relationship and in their efforts to get help from the city sound like what the alderman is describing about the toxicity in this administration. It's crazy. It's been all type of mads. And there's been all positions on all type, who like who don't. But right now, we got a bad situation. Aldermen are leaving because they just can't work with something so out of pocket. Feel like a balled up paper towel. Throw it in the trash. That's a hell of a thing for a school teacher to say. That's a hell of a thing for an alderman to say. That's a hell of a thing probably for a mother to say. What could have been that bad in a work environment that people would feel that they're being used? Huh? How do you have a work environment where people feel like they are nothing but trash? How? Well, that's how people feel when they call for city services now. You hear that later. Another little piece, I think we might get it in. About 15 aldermen, the last I heard and saw, state that they will waiver, I'm using the word waiver, they won't accept the increase. I guess it's cost of living or inflation or whatever. That's 15 out of 52. Woo! I won't say too much about that, but I can just hear how they talking among themselves. Man, they ain't gonna chew up my money. Damn that, them tax dollars. I earned that. You's a lie, you ain't earned a damn thing. No, I'm not gonna give it up. I don't care. We got plenty of money. That's what they say. But over there where I'm working, one of the city workers today said something because they resurfacing some streets over there in Inglewood. Look like every year they patch them, but this time they resurfacing. And he was saying, he was Department of Transportation, that it's been a long time since they did that over there. And I thought about Alderman Lopez is making a move to try to become mayor. But I will say this, it appears that on his way out, he's trying to do something to leave things better. That's the spirit of a city worker. Doing something to leave things better. Let's get started, Brother Amari. I don't want to keep going.
Migrants are spending their first night in Chicago. They are the largest group sent from Texas so far. They were taken to the Salvation Army in Humboldt Park for temporary shelter, and that's where we find CBS 2's Maribel Gonzalez tonight. And Maribel, I know you spoke with some of those migrants today.
Yeah, that's right, Joe. They told me it was a difficult and long journey getting here, some of their loved ones dying along the way. Now tonight, this will be the third group to arrive to Chicago and brought to this shelter in the last week. But like in the other cases, the city, the Salvation Army, and the activists are welcoming them with little notice. After settling into the Salvation Army, some of the migrants sent to Chicago by Texas Governor Greg Abbott will make a stop here at the Little Village Community Council, where they will pick up clothing and items donated by locals and work with Baltasar Enriquez, the organization's president, on getting jobs.
A lot of them borrow money to get here, so they have to pay back that money. So they need to get a job immediately.
For the newly arrived migrants who fled their countries with nothing in hand, like Luis did, this little bit of help goes a long way. He tells us he walked through the forest in Colombia for 8 days and along the way witnessed people getting robbed, falling ill, and even dying after drowning. So far this week, the city has received around 228 migrants, the majority from Venezuela. And as more are expected to follow, the Salvation Army is working to find space for them.
I guess that's a bridge we'll have to cross when we get there, because there's, I guess, only so much space. So we're doing our best to, keep, taking everybody. We don't ever want to turn anybody away.
Yeah, those migrants are staying in the gym of this shelter, we're told, on cots. Meanwhile, the city is working with local organizations to partner them or to send them to relatives that are living in the States or sponsors who are willing to take them in pending their immigration cases. Mayor Lightfoot today reiterating that they will continue to welcome them to Chicago. Reporting outside of the Salvation Army, Maribel Gonzalez, CBS 2 News.
All right, Maribel, and we expect more to come, I'm sure, from Texas. Thank you.
Program will have quite a bit of information as it relates to the migrants And I think there's a couple of things that need amplifying. Number one, you just automatically assume they're Mexicans. No, they speak Spanish. I said it before. Really, these peoples are not migrants. They're not. People was in South America, Latin America, Central America, even North America, before the ones that say they illegals ever got here. The real migrants, immigrants. So these people are really, like the man said, crossing the water. How you migrate in hell, you just crossing the water. I mean, what the hell? It's like crossing the block. Oh, I understand it's more complicated than that. Yeah, but let's just be clear. They all ain't Mexicans. They just speak Spanish. And I didn't see no dark-skinned ones, and in that particular clip, I didn't see any females. I saw men. Leads me to this. Check how dude made the statement. They borrowed money. They got to pay it back. A lot of them over here borrowed money. They got to pay it back. But did they borrow the money from the bank? Not according to most of many of us. Well, I see. They say they got the money from the cartel. So when you hear people saying that the cartel is really getting rich, they controlling the dope and they controlling the folks. But it's an urgency for these people to work so they can pay the criminal element. Think. But when you look at the Negro's experience in America, number one, who could he borrow from? He ain't really got nobody in the community that can lend him a lot of nothing, really, other than some hell. But these people, these Spanish people, that coming through Mexico and places like that, yeah, their so-called cartels are different. They have money. They have power. The so-called gangs over here in Chicago, they're just little functionaries by these puppeteers. But now you got people that these people getting their loans from. People that don't even have to know how to speak English. People don't even have to know how to do nothing. Just borrow some money from the criminal and they let you know. You got to pay this money back. If you don't, everybody know what's going to happen to you. Ain't no secret. But the government of America knows this. They allows this. They enable this. They do. So when you talk about the way things are going, pay attention. Pay attention. Piece, bro. There's a piece, Amaris, I got it on there. Migrants bust to Sanctuary City, Chicago, are promptly shipped to the suburbs. Now I couldn't find a video on that, so it probably won't be one. But if you see the headline, sure when you do.
Yesterday is now up to 147.
And about half of them spending their first night in Burr Ridge. Casey Cronus is live there to show us what's the latest. Casey?
Hey, Tia and Sally, that's right. Now, many of these migrants are from Venezuela, some from Colombia and Peru. They gave us a warm hello earlier today.
Bien, todo muy bien. Gracias.
Now, 64 of them were dropped off at the Hampton Inn in Burr Ridge, where they will stay for at least the next 30 days. Today, the Greater Chicago Food Depository dropped off a pallet of food for them. Burr Ridge Mayor Gary Grosso tells us the migrants are all members of families and there are no unaccompanied minors. He says they all have legal refugee status they received at the border and were screened by the Chicago Health Department. While Grosso says he will continue to welcome them in Burr Ridge with open arms, he tells us he would have appreciated a heads up that they'd be coming.
I'm glad that the American dream is still alive for a lot of people, as it was for my grandparents when they came here and for most people that are in this country. So very happy for them. But unhappy that nobody from the city, from the state, called and told me or my village administrator or any of our elected officials that this was happening.
The Illinois Department of Human Services confirms that of the 300 migrants who arrived in Chicago last week, many of them are temporarily being housed in urban and suburban hotels. They do anticipate that more buses of migrants will be on their way from Texas in the coming days and weeks. Reporting live in Burr Ridge, Casey Cronus, Fox 32, Chicago.
Now, you all remember last week, and we probably won't play that again today, where Lightfoot was snapping and calling Governor Abbott immoral and all them funny names and no racist and da-da-da-da-da. See, that style, dude might have just let the first bus be enough. But when you start trying to flex, when you start trying to jug, you know what I'm saying? When you start trying to be the gangster that you ain't. So the man, now he's just going to send them more and more. And there's a clip, I don't know if it'll be in one of these things we got here or not, where she is saying, send all your Texas people here. Hell of a thing. Last week you was crying about he was such a whatever. But then you tell him, send everybody here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what type of stunt is this? Where are you people?
Try this straight.
I'm talking about citizens in Chicago going. I really want you to give that some thought. Where you going? I listened to the radio yesterday. You know, sometimes I tell you, I know I'm not, you know, I got my ways. Everybody got their ways. But that was a dude that called in. Number one, he wanted to slam one of the candidates because of reasons. And he did slam him. Typical, messy stuff. And what I understand is that some folks, they see this program and hear the program on the radio and they think I'll be putting down the Negro, the race. If you act like you had enough sense to stand up, you wouldn't perceive that. Because the only one that's going to think I'm putting them down is the one that's really down and acting a damn clown. I stand on that. So when you call and you say that somebody that don't have a high school diploma maybe, that don't speak as fluent as you do, that person need to go get some type of training, tutoring, so he can do those things. But yet that person is a multimillionaire that has fed and bought gas and helped all type of people. And all you are is maybe an educated Negro and you want to judge that he should not be running. You see? And then some ex-white alderman, I'm thinking he white, he had been on and he had said that, you know, ain't nobody running against Lightfoot is strong enough to beat Lightfoot. Well, hell, Lightfoot wasn't nobody when she ran. That was just a little stunt that they pulled to put her there. Roman manuals in the dailies. So hell, she wasn't no more important than nobody running against her. So stop trying to create the doubt in people's minds that people got to just accept this mess we got because there's nothing else you can do. That's a lie. You can do something. Get off your sorry behind, get out there, organize, and find a candidate worthy of being mayor of Chicago. Period. It's a simple matter. And then I hear, although I haven't read it, that Chewy Garcia is talking about running. Then somebody else said, well, maybe Treadwinkle need to get in. Well, now, you know, Chewy is a seasoned professional politician. Treadwinkle is a seasoned professional politician. You know what I'm saying? Lopez already in. Professional, seasoned politician. Sawyer, professional, seasoned politician. King, professional, seasoned politician. One thing I have noticed, and it ain't got nothing to do with me, but I've been saying it for a while, and now I see it happening. I've seen this time more aldermen running to be mayor than in the past at the same time. I've always been an advocate that if you want to be mayor, you should have been an alderman. You should have worked your way into that, not just some damn wannabe that got some money or because of a fluke. No, you should have experience in a job like that going into it, like you do in everything else. How much experience you got? Want to be a cop? How crazy are you? How much did they give? I ain't gonna say that. But they always calling other people names. Did they take the psychological? Had they taken the psychological, they might have been able to find that, you have a different situation. But I find it interesting that Chewy might get in, and I don't know, I can't say it, but I heard somebody say, Fred Winkle needs to consider. Maybe she will. But that don't mean that those three will be the only candidates. You understand? You still got this other dozen damn near running. So now if you add these two heavyweights, Fred Winkle and Garcia, I say that with this type of disposition. What you don't want to do, y'all, is self-destruct. And your self-destruction mean what you were trying to create and construct get destroyed in the process. We can't even use the word, we need a change. That's what people thought they was voting for, getting a change. Now you're at the point of anybody but. Ain't that a trip? Anybody but. But let's go on, man. I don't want to get too much into that. Next piece.
Learned about 30 families were moved to a hotel in the suburbs and that the suburbs didn't have any advanced warning. Now, Nick Smith is in Burr Ridge, Illinois with more on that story. Nick.
Mitch, good morning. As buses of migrants continue to make their way to Chicago from Texas and to other sanctuary cities, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot is calling out Texas Governor Greg Abbott for calling and treating migrants not as people, she says, but as things to be shipped.
My frustration comes from the actions of the governor of Texas. There could be a level of coordination and cooperation, but he chooses to do none of those things and instead tries to send human beings, not cargo, not freight, but human beings across the country to an uncertain destination.
But despite her criticism for Governor Abbott and other Republican lawmakers, Mayor Lightfoot now coming under fire for allegedly relocating dozens of migrants from Chicago to hotels in nearby suburbs. One of the stops included a Hampton Inn in Burr Ridge, about 20 miles from the city's downtown. What's more, the migrants were allegedly moved without giving local officials a heads up first. Burr Ridge Mayor Gary Grasso says he's frustrated that Mayor Lightfoot is now following in the footsteps of Texas Governor.
I will tell you I'm still upset that I still don't know who's making the decisions here. In a smaller way, I'm in the same position that she was put in.
While Chicago and encompassing Cook County are considered migrant sanctuary cities and have passed laws meant to protect immigrants from deportation, the portion of Burr Ridge where many of the migrants are now staying is actually in a different county. Now, it's unknown who is actually footing the bill for the migrants' accommodations or exactly how much the hotel rooms cost. However, rooms here in Burr Ridge can go from anywhere from $159 a night to $189 a night. We are expecting to hear from Senator Dick Durbin later today, who says that he too wants to speak with different city municipalities about the migrant situation. Adrian?
All right.
Thank you, Nick.
And we've got to get to the southern border now. Thank you for watching. Go to News Nation now.
I'm going to bypass that piece already in my mind where I was going to speak on the fact that actually that whole conversation of talking should have been between Abbott and Pritzker. How you you just jump up and start talking. And then you start doing the same thing they doing. But we're gonna fast forward a little bit. Number 4, Chicago Alderman says, Lori Lightfoot knew that the migrants was coming a week earlier. That's a piece there where Alderman Lopez is talking. But the article itself, Chicago Alderman Larry Lightfoot knew, da-da-da-da. You might see that under that. It should be pretty close to the top. The best way to see it, you'll see Lopez's face. That's the way you do that. I should have probably just resent all of that. You can show Pritzker right now, and we'll get to Lopez. While you're doing this, you can look for Lopez. Run this piece because this man gonna say something. The person Bailey running against Pritzker. Everybody should know that. I know it. And people I know that the biggest problem in Chicago right now seems to be violence. Folks think something wrong with challenging.
Our home is under siege by violent criminals.
After meetings in Springfield with a group of county sheriffs, State Senator Darren Bailey blamed Governor Pritzker for an increase in violence since 2019.
It's an issue Bailey believes will propel his underdog campaign to victory on November 8th.
Our political editor Mike Flannery has more.
The Republican nominee for governor predicts he'll get more votes than expected in some Democratic strongholds because of an increase in violent crime.
I'm hearing from the city of Chicago. I'm hearing from the suburbs. People are afraid. They're concerned. They're worried. My message will be hold your elected official accountable.
The Pritzker campaign pushed back. With 63 days until Election Day, Darren Bailey has once again shown us the only thing his campaign is capable of doing is fear-mongering. Bailey's refusal to own up to the votes he's taken against supporting law enforcement shows you exactly the kind of leader he is, one who can't take accountability. For his part, Bailey said he voted no on a new law that provided tens of millions of dollars to state and local police because Springfield's supermajority Democrats allegedly didn't give him enough time to study the measure.
And you're given a bill at 3 a.m. in the morning, and once it's been amended, then you have about 1 hour to decipher it and figure things out. I simply do not trust J.B. Pritzker.
Bailey also slammed President Biden, noting the arrival from Texas of several busloads of people who crossed the southern border in violation of U.S. immigration laws.
And as these people are showing up in Chicago, it's becoming concerning that we have got to deal with this. President Biden has got to deal with this at the border, first and foremost. And where's President Biden with his money to help these local communities?
Governor Pritzker said last week the people bussed from the Texas-Mexico border are welcome here. I'm political editor Mike Flannery.
Well, obviously so. You're paying damn near $200 a room. That's a hell of a thing. You got all these homeless people here. I don't want to get into that either. But there's a lot that we are seeing. Yeah, run this piece now when you get it cleared up, Brother Omar. And then as we go forward, we're going to look at something else that Bailey position brought out in that report. The whole thing about
Windy Sanctuary City on Wednesday after he sent 2 more busloads of illegal immigrants north to the Windy Sanctuary City on Wednesday as the bitter political battle over the Biden administration's border policies rages on.
Governor Abbott's racist and xenophobic practices of expulsion have only amplified the challenges many of these migrants have experienced on their journey to find a safe place. The governor's actions are not just inhumane, they are unpatriotic. He is a man without any morals, humanity, or shame.
Lightfoot even offering to take on new Texas residents who might be unhappy with their governor. Listen.
I'm happy to take and drain Texas of all of its residents.
Sounds like this would work well to reach out to them and say, hey, you have some more people that you want to get rid of going forward to do it in a better way.
Well, I suppose that would work in theory, but that's not the point, right?
But in reality, data show people living in blue states like Illinois are fleeing to red states, with Illinois ranking third for residents leaving and Texas now the #1 destination for people relocating. Republicans were quick to call out Democrats for criticizing Abbott's actions.
Only thing Lori Lightfoot doesn't like is that she was shown up by Greg Abbott, and frankly, all the Democrats have been, because they wanted to be sanctuary cities. Well, here you go. Now be a sanctuary city. But they like to talk tough. They like to talk like they're progressive. But when it's on their dime and on their watch, they don't want to do anything, and they don't want to lift a finger.
Many of the migrant buses have been sent to D.C. The district's attorney general also accusing Abbott and Arizona Governor Doug Ducey of playing politics. Quote, the moves by Abbott and Ducey are a purely political stunt that has left vulnerable migrants and asylum seekers without basic resources and with nowhere to go. We must use every tool at our disposal to answer the call for additional resources and provide aid to these vulnerable people. Mayor Lightfoot went on to say it's highly likely the Windy City could receive additional migrants from the Texas border. But Lightfoot says if and when that happens, Chicago will be ready. Ashley?
All right, Marianne, thank you. We're going to bring in Chicago Alderman.
This, man. You know, these vulnerable people. These people, you know, they're some hypocrites. As long as they ain't dark-skinned and black. Hell, if they were dark-skinned and speaking Spanish, like Cubans, or Haitians speaking French, I wonder what they call them vulnerable. And only vulnerability is that they made a decision to leave the country they was in. That's the only thing. And they have not finished the process.
Raymond Lopez, he's running for mayor against Lori Lightfoot. He joins me now. I don't know if you caught what she said, what Lori Lightfoot said to that reporter. The reporter asked, basically, in short, you know, couldn't you reach out to Governor Greg Abbott to see if there's a better way to go about this as far as getting those migrants into the city? Which, let me just point out, it was only 75 migrants on 2 buses, and they are a sanctuary city. They should have been able to accept those people with open arms, with no problems. But her response, she said, yeah, in theory, but that's not the point. So what is the point?
Well, I think it's very misleading, Ashley, for Lori Lightfoot to say in theory that would only happen, because she knew that these buses were coming over a week ago. Chicago's been able to plan for their arrival. This wasn't the 11 p.m. surprise arrival that she's trying to portray it as. She was aware, and this is a manipulation of our welcoming city ordinance. That ordinance was designed to be welcoming for the undocumented people that were here, and not to be used as a tool for other states to drop their problems in our city and to give the mayor an opportunity to pontificate while pretending like she wasn't aware. This will only get worse unless we bring in the entire city of Chicago, as well as demand better from our federal government. All of this, all of these cities dealing with busloads from Texas is a result of the failure of the federal government to address the border situation for generations, for decades. And unless we get that resolved, we're going to continue to see states take drastic actions like this against each other. We're going to see war of words. And in the midst of all of that, we're going to forget that there are real human lives involved in what's going on here.
Right. It's obviously a humanitarian crisis, and I feel like it's being made out to be a political ploy. But, you know, all of these hits are being taken by Governor Greg Abbott because he's sending the migrants, not that many migrants, too, mind you, with what they're dealing with at the border. They're sending them to D.C., New York City, and now Chicago. Do you think if this were a liberal governor doing this, that you would see the same type of reaction?
No, unfortunately, I believe that both sides are playing politics with people, with the refugees and asylum seekers, while ignoring the fact that this all falls on the federal government. You know, this war of words that's trying to be politicized by Lori Lightfoot against Governor Abbott comes on the precipice of her re-election strategy to show that she's engaged in fighting and once again gaslighting national issues to deflect from the failures in the city of Chicago. Todd's previous segment about the carjacking and drag racing and other events that are going on have taken a back burner to the arrival of 79 new residents in the city of Chicago. And it's outrageous to many of the people that I meet on the street who want to know, when is she going to take care of the issues locally with the same gusto that she's trying to take on Governor Greg Abbott with?
And then Fox News contributor and former Democrat Leo Terrell responded to Lightfoot's claims of racism. Listen to this.
This is a woman who would not grant interviews to white reporters. This is the ultimate racist. But what they see is they see their failed policies in reality. It's hypocrisy. They don't want the illegal aliens there. They don't want them there to drain the resources. The same reason why Greg Abbott is sending these illegal aliens to Chicago, to New York City, to Washington, D.C.
Raymond, your response to that soundbite there.
Well, first off, I'm really sick and tired of hearing every time something goes wrong or someone disagrees with Lori Lightfoot, it being racist and xenophobic. She even accused members of her own community of being racist for not fully standing up and supporting her. There are a number of black candidates running against her, and she called them all false prophets and descendants of the racist mobs of our history. It's ridiculous to constantly use that, especially when you go through some of the black communities on the south and west side of the city of Chicago who are not seeing as much love and attention as she's given to the individuals arriving today. It's hard to unite a city when you're not investing as much energy and resources in the indigenous black populations who have historically suffered from true racism and unemployment with the same amount of energy that you're giving these individuals coming to our city. I understand that we are a welcoming city, but we have to make it a matter of priorities and showing that we are concerned about all demographics, not just the new arrivals.
Let's get to this. Chicago police officers are being forced to take off after a new analysis found more than 1,000 of them worked as many as 11 days straight between April and the end of May. You know, when you look at this, especially just at face value, even without doing any research on knowing that, you know, back in April, it was the lowest staffing that they've had for the CPD in recent history. But when you look at this, you think, well, the police are being overworked. This is not safe for them or the community, and they're not getting any backing from their city leaders. If you were to be mayor, how would you combat this crime crisis, but yet still be able to back your boys in blue?
You can't address crime until you ensure that you are taking care of those brave men and women who put that badge and uniform on every single day. Overworking them to the point of exhaustion is not a viable solution. We need to not only expand our recruitment, but look at other issues like calling back those officers who left for lateral transfers and ensuring that we're building up a 21st century police department and using modern methods for staffing to ensure that we have the resources in the districts to answer the 911 calls in our city. Our districts are 24% fewer manned than they were 3 years ago before she took office, and the toll is recognizable. Just yesterday, we had another officer commit suicide in the city of Chicago. The stresses that we are putting on our officers are unimaginable and are falling on deaf ears in City Hall, and that will end when I'm mayor.
Yep, and that is true. Police suicides are up all over the country right now, and it is a sad, sad thing to see. Raymond Lopez, thank you so much for getting up with us this morning. We appreciate it.
I know many of you all have already seen it, but I'm playing it, presenting it, because the fact is sometimes we see things and we just discount it. Now I'm looking at Lopez and listening to him. I think Lopez would make a good mayor. My only hesitation is that, you know, part of the problem is, and we need to deal with this. They say Lopez, I'm talking about the people that live in the Inglewood section of his ward. You know, he got his ways. And one of the ways, I think, is the Negroes going to have to learn, like they learned before with their white masters, that there's a role for you if you stay in your place. Now, when I say that, Negroes say, what's wrong with that crank? He's stupid, da-da-da-da. No, I want to say it again. You stay in your place, whatever that is. There's a role for you. But when you get out of your place, then they get you out of the way. And what's happening now is Negroes are in a position that they're going to be in last place in Chicago. They are. Because the Spanish-speaking people, they through laying back, waiting. That's why Garcia stepping up. That's why Lopez stepping up. Who do we have that we can say is stepping up? because we got a whole bunch of them down there in City Hall that ain't stepping up for us. You understand? And I'm sure the Spanish-speaking people have some of the frustrations that Negroes have with their people not representing them the way the people that elected them think they should. And some Caucasians have the same type of frustrations. But the Negro seemed to always have a place at the bottom and no role now that he is no longer a chattel slave. But he has chosen to be a mental slave. Understand? But that's on him. But these other folks are working. I was looking at a woman yesterday, Hispanic. She's mowing yards, but she was mowing up the yard. You know how they had those mowers? That woman was, and she was not on no cycle. She had a regular gas lawnmower, big one. How many Negro women you think, man, nigga, I'm gonna divorce you. You think I'm gonna go out there and help you look? That ain't no Negro woman gonna help no Negro man go cut no damn yards. Stop lying. So many the Spanish come do it. Why you mad that they mowed the yard and now they done bought the whole block? Why you mad? 8 of them stand in one building. Next year, all of them own all of the buildings on the block. Why you mad? Stop being mad. There is no role when you don't know your place, whether it's in your family, in a relationship, in politics, anything else. You think your place is at the top just because you say so. No, but it don't work like that. And when somebody tell you that, you want to get all sensitive. I don't give a damn about you being sensitive. Somebody need to tell you the truth. You have forfeited. And if you don't get out there, work hard, organize, and find a candidate that you can all support, yeah. Somebody other than one of y'all gonna win. They are. Because folks are tired of what's happening. And you want to just keep talking about black. Man, black, darkness ain't about nothing, Jack. You need some light now. I don't want to hear nothing about none of that. I don't. Who is going to stop the violence? Who is going to be fair? You're going to have to stay in your place with whoever is there. The only problem is when a Negro get in that place, he don't want no other Negroes in a roll around him because then he or she can't act like they God and the most important Negro in the world. So they bring in everybody but other Negroes. Back to where we started. White alderman. One of those that's resigning or quitting or whatever they doing says that it felt like and it's being used and thrown away like a paper towel. So that's your role now, huh? Drying hands, drying other body parts, and being thrown in the trash. That's how you feel, and you got a black man and a whole bunch of black aldermen. They're in the right place, but their role is wrong. They are not the ones for that place. That's the point. Now you figure that out. Now just because you don't have that understanding, don't get offended. Somebody's got to talk to the ancestors. Somebody's got to talk to the tree, to the wind, to the rock, to the earth, because you all don't seem to want to do nothing but sit back and look at everybody else rise above you. And you talking about what you won't do. I ain't gonna clean toilets. I ain't gonna do that. Well, other folks doing it and they making $29 an hour. You ain't doing nothing but making some stank in the hood, smoking that dope. See? That ain't putting you down. That's telling you what's happening. And when you told what happened, don't get mad because you see all these other folks coming. You see how they putting them in them damn near $200 hotels, and here you are. You've been here one way or the other, your ancestors or whoever, for the last damn near 600 years. Now they don't even let you stay on the lower whacker because they done turn it into a racetrack. I used to be out there when they was out there in so-called Jewtown. I was a city worker that went down there from emergency services to help coach people out and get them in CHA. Yeah, I didn't say one of them. I was the one they sent there, and once it was done, they sent the rest of them there when they was on the tracks in the huts. So when I speak what I speak, like I speak, I'm just saying. Yeah, you had a place. Yeah, you did. Now, it's finna be cold. The money that might have got you a bed and a shelter, who gonna have that shelter place? Huh? Go to the next one. I saw you had it up there, Brother Amari, that woman who was killed. Well, play what you got.
Hit and killed a woman visiting Chicago, was speeding and racing with another car. And this is a short video taken right before the crash near Midway Airport. The victim was Shaman Miras, visiting Chicago from Florida with her boyfriend. Miras would have been 41 years old today. Her family says witnesses saw two Corvettes racing and weaving through traffic on Cicero Avenue. The driver of the one that hit her was ticketed.
Now think, showing out. But now you got an administration to think that that's the way to go. Bring some more celebrity racers in here and let everybody show out. Here's some folks driving a Corvette. Now, I don't know if it's Hispanics or not. They say it's Cicero. I don't know. And they're out there showing out and took...
Introducing Welcome Unlimited.
And then you want to tell me that there's something more important than the violence that's taking place. That woman is dead. It wasn't because of gun violence. She's dead because another category of crime after June 23, if the same
Chicago police
is in place, is going to be worse.
Update now on efforts to curb drag
than guns. Because carjacking and that foolishness they doing, drifting and car racing, something that's going to become a real big thing in Chicago because somebody think it's fascinating. Yeah, it still kill people. Yes, sir. And we'll be getting out of here in a few.
An update now on efforts to curb drag racing and drifting in Chicago. Police already impounding 7 vehicles connected with incidents such as these, which were caught on video last weekend. And they say since then, they've identified another 44 vehicles that are set for impoundment. Meanwhile, State Representative LaShawn Ford proposing a new law that targets spectators as well as drivers. And if that's passed, the law would allow them to be charged with felony mob action.
That dude want to just go out there and lock up everybody standing in the damn audience.
We made USAA renters insurance for the state.
Nah, I'm just standing here. I'm just looking. Where'd you going to jail to? I was just passing by. Why don't you charge the same way that you do in that proposal? Why don't you do that in the hood? Why don't you do that? Charge everybody that saw, everybody that's in the family with dude, that you know killed that innocent baby, that you know killed that woman or that man. Charge them. Y'all need to stop grabbing for headlines and shit. You know what I'm saying? Do something serious. You know what I'm saying? Look here. Now, okay, the dudes in the cars might not have no connection with the folks that's looking. And if you ain't Grant Park and now everybody know that it's gonna be used one way or the other for this sports car racing, they out there trying to figure out how they can run up and down them hills and around them trees and have fun. So if I'm out there in the park looking at the squirrels and then they out there racing and I stop looking at the squirrels and start looking at the cars, now you gonna come lock my squirrely looking behind up too? Boy, I almost said something. No. Now, one of the things I want us to understand is this. This piece number 10, Southside, Chicago residents says landlords force them. That should be pretty close to the top. That one right there. If not that, you'll see it'll look like some projects. It'll be a spot that shows these people. I want to play that because I want you to feel, we talk about what's happening in Jackson, but now I think taking a bath in cold water, that's good when you want to do it. But for 34 days straight, you ain't got no hot water and you paying your rent. Then you call the city and you can't get no help. You don't get no response. The media you call the city, they don't get no response. That means those people in charge say, damn all y'all. We beyond y'all. You all are paper towels. You all are SHIT paper. All we're going to do is wipe and throw you away. That's what the alderman said. Paraphrased anyway. One of the things I want you to understand is this. Leadership, if it's the right leadership, can inspire people. Whether it's for the better or the worse. But when you run up on somebody, right? No, man. When you run up on somebody right here that don't care, the people that's working in that administration, they won't care either. And that's what we got. Arrogance. Arrogance. Man, gotta change. Gotta do something different and something better. Run this piece, and this will be the last.
South Shore neighborhood, they're fed up with the city after a, quote, slumlord forced them to live 30-plus days with no hot water. This group gathered at their apartment building on East 68th Street. They say despite a number of calls to the city's 311 hotline, that their building went 34 days without hot water. Chicago Department of Buildings confirms that they have received complaints, but they declined to speak on any citations or inspections.
I've emailed her office 5 times. I demanded to speak to the building commissioner 4 times. I have not gotten a response. And going into the fall and winter season, I do not feel comfortable that this building is a safe one to live in with a slumlord.
And we have reached out to that landlord and the rental agency for comment, but have yet to hear back.
Now let me just say this. I said it, and I'm going to say this. Y'all don't want to hear it. I hear y'all say this a lot. I demand it. That's back to having a role and knowing your place. You can't demand nothing of nobody, particularly not. On the telephone, they'll do it. If they detect any type of tone change in your voice that ain't begging or ain't being submissive, they put you on hold and just hang up and leave you there all day. So whatever you doing, don't be trying to hold on to talking about you demanding something. You don't control nothing now, y'all. You can't demand nothing. How you gonna demand it when they can hang up or don't answer the phone and don't respond? So now you really got to be diplomatic and finesseful. I ain't gonna do, if you want the results you want, you better change what you do in order to get done what you want done. That's just basic. And people stop telling us that. And that's the problem now. The problem with the Negro, we have slipped into darkness because we got faked out by them fake leaders talking about black this, black and I'm proud, black power. Nigga, Negro was stronger and more powerful than all of you. You damn rappers, deaf peddlers, athletes, gladiators. That's where your money is. But real Negroes that might have not been nothing but a sharecropper, might have not been nothing but a farmer, but they own a mule. They own some land sometimes, some cows. What do we own now? For the most part, nothing. And you say, well, you putting us down. Yeah, I'm putting you down because that's exactly where you are. But you weren't always there. We weren't always like this. We didn't always go around telling we're going to demand. You got that from the media. Demand. Dude, you better learn how to ask. You better learn how to say yes, sir, and yes, ma'am. You do. And you need to teach them little disrespectful young'uns you got how to go back to some old time ways. Because right now, you saw those people getting off the bus. I saw one of them throw his fingers up. Somebody could call him a gang member. And if he got a loan to get here, he probably do have connections with a gang. Because the man told you, they borrowed that money. And we know who they borrowed it from. Because those people got a heavy presence in Chicago. Now remember, Chicago used to be almost like a headquarters of some of their top people. Yeah. And we out here going around talking, man, we in bad shape. If we don't stand up, the midterm, I know you ain't gonna do it because you had a $40 million Negro man running for governor, but you just too democratic program to see the benefit. Now you got Bailey, the white man that won, and he going up against Pritzker. Y'all love Pritzker, so he, you know. But if he was intelligent, I'm gonna say what I said before when the black man was running. You might want to try to deal with Bailey, because Bailey know that the violence is out. Oh, Omar, that piece that talks about that marijuana. Let's do that, man. There's a piece that shows a marijuana leaf where they big daddy. Yeah, that piece right there. About them advocates. Told y'all, man. I've been asking, been saying here.
Introducing Welcome Unlimited.
Little people, color people that got those dispensaries, they got quiet. Now see what's happening. This is what you, come on, man, play that. I'm tired of talking.
Business owners.
It's because I'm waving a flag for Governor Pritzker and Illinois legislators. Our cannabis social equity program is on the verge of collapse. And who's being hurt? It's us, the very people who this program was meant to help.
The groups are blaming the rules and regulations which are now in place, and Governor Pritzker's office issuing a statement saying that, quote, the governor looks forward to continuing to work with the General Assembly on streamlining the process and helping social equity applicants enter and thrive in the industry.
You know, what a shame. All over the nation, people are making billions of dollars, them people. And here we are in Illinois. You see that person? He's speaking out. He's speaking out and letting you know. You're basically at the same point you were when they started. What you did is you gave the money to some of those in the lottery and to get them to shut up. But then there, some more still ain't got what they think is their potion. You made it hard for them to get it. Understand? Making it hard for them to deal with those particular regulations. Yeah, but you love it. Do you really think Pritzker will give a damn about some regulations that's keeping black people and other people from getting some dope license? No. He enjoying the idea of thinking about 20 years from now with all your damn offsprings, and we played that piece last week, I think. Although I put it on here, where all your offsprings gonna have them psychological problems, gonna have half a brain. Because last week we looked at it, where they said that this stuff, the THC levels in this dope is creating addiction. We already knew that. Creating psychiatric illness. We already knew that. We did. But now they coming up with research, trying to tell us something we already knew, something they already knew, and here we are. Letting some people make billions. There was a thing to say, what was it, 37, some number of states, all of them have made at least $1.39 billion in the last year selling marijuana. Now that's them so-called upper class white folk. All them other investors, they all ain't white. Them other investors, they got that big money. And then those 2 or 3 of y'all out here that got your license, you can't hire nobody. You know what I mean? You can't help nobody because they making the regulations so tight that even you might not be able to keep what you got. And those other people that's got all of the money, making all of the money, and paying them people down there in Springfield, including them black ones you elected, and letting you collapse. Well, until next week, Alafia, try not to collapse. Peace and good health.